Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Digest. I'm Pat.
And I'm Erin.
So, Erin, did you have any favorite, childhood books? Really, really young, I'm talking. Not sort of young adult, but kid books.
Yeah, actually, there's actually a Canadian author who writes children's books, and no one really knows about him outside of Canada, but his name is Robert Munsch.
That rings a bell.
And
I think we may have I've seen his name written about somewhere in something we've done.
Mm-hmm. Now, he had pretty much the essential children's library of books for me when I was a kid, and they were funny, and at the same time they helped you learn to read. And so there was one called The Paper Bag Princess that was my particular favorite, and there was usually a lot of shouting and fun stuff and kids doing things they shouldn't in them.
I like Roald Dahl for that. He was probably my big childhood reader. And a lot of these childhood books, they often have extra meanings, maybe darker sides to them that you don't really realize until you grow up.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to look at today in our article, which is going to concentrate on nursery rhymes. So let's read through and find out what this thing is all about. Nursery rhymes are the simple songs that children learn in kindergarten or elementary school. Their easy words and catchy rhymes teach children to sing, or about other simple concepts. The first collection of these traditional songs to be published in English was Tommy Thumb's Songbook in the 18th century. Despite nursery rhymes' general air of innocence, however, many people believe these pleasant ditties have darker meanings. One example is Baa Baa Black Sheep. It has been suggested that the song is about a medieval wool tax imposed by King Edward I of England. The song mentions 3 bags of wool, one of which is for the master. This refers to English subjects' resentment of the fact that 1/3 of the price of a bag of wool went to the crown. However, the tax was dropped long before the rhyme appeared, and there's no real evidence to support this theory. Another song with allegedly sinister origins is Ring-a-Ring-a-Roses. Urban legend says the lines of the song describe symptoms of the bubonic plague. The ring of roses is the red marks on the skin, while the pocket full of posies conceals the bad smell caused by the disease. Certainly, people sneezing at issue would all fall down and die. Once again, though, this interpretation is rejected by folklorists, as no mention of it appeared in references until the 1950s. Whether these nursery rhymes have hidden meanings or not, there's no denying that certain children's songs have been used to mock rulers or pass down advice from one generation to the next. What's especially remarkable is the staying power of nursery rhymes, many of which have been around for hundreds of years. It's to be hoped that they continue to be sung, ensuring that oral traditions and nuggets of wisdom are never lost. Okay, that's our article, and it's an interesting idea.
All right. Well, the title, let's start with the title today. It says, "Is there a dark side to nursery rhymes?" So this whole article is about are these nursery rhymes, which are basically little poems or little songs that you learn when you're in nursery or you're very, very young. You're just learning how to talk, how to put ideas together sort of thing. And we mentioned a couple of really popular ones in the article, Baa Baa Black Sheep, and
Ring-a-Ring-a-Roses.
Ring-a-Ring-a-Roses.
There are all sorts. I mean, I'd have to, the Cat and the Fiddle, stuff like that, all these kids' songs. We kind of define what these are in the first sentence of the article. It says nursery rhymes are the simple songs that children learn in kindergarten or elementary school. So I'm sure pretty much everybody will have sung them, learned them, sung them with their friends, maybe on the bus, with their family, at home, or had their mum sing songs to them, stuff like that.
Even in Taiwan, I mean, I've sung these with
kids,
with students.
Sometimes they learn English ones, but I'm aware there are quite a few Chinese ones that my my wife has kind of sung and taught to me.
Okay. All right. So their easy words and catchy rhymes teach children to sing or about other simple concepts. Now, catchy means that it's sort of easy to repeat.
Yeah, it sticks in your mind.
Yeah.
Something that's catchy. It's like, okay, I instantly recognize that song. I can very quickly learn the melody to hum it or sing it, and it's enjoyable. So that's why they stay around.
And that's not just with nursery rhymes. That's with a lot of like pop songs these days.
Yeah.
So.
They need to be catchy.
Yeah. All right. So it teaches children how to sing or about other simple concepts or ideas or notions of things that you need to learn to kind of, as you grow up, you need to learn these concepts because...
Yeah, it could be anything as simple, these ideas, as like what time to go to bed or, how different jobs work or, like Old MacDonald had a farm. Okay, that's a nursery rhyme.
Yeah.
And it teaches you about all the animals on the farm, what noises they make. Sometimes, I can't remember if he talks about what he feeds them, but at least you learn that ducks go quack. And pigs go oink and cows go moo. And, so we're talking about teaching kids really simple ideas or concepts like that. The article then says, the first collection of these traditional songs to be published in English was Tommy Thumb's songbook in the 18th century. So these songs are traditional. So we're kind of saying here that they've been around a lot longer than the 18th century, 200-300 years ago. It's just that was when they were first collected and published in a book. Many of these songs date back much later, yes.
Yeah, so I suppose in the 18th century, that would have been around the time when it was easier to start publishing things more.
Yeah, the printing presses became more available. There was more people were able to read. And people wanted their kids to learn these songs.
Right. So it says, despite nursery rhymes' general air of innocence, however, many people believe these pleasant ditties have darker meanings. Okay, so we're talking about a general air of innocence here. So an air is sort of like an impression or a quality or manner that you get from
somebody or something. It's like the feeling, this kind of overall feeling, the atmosphere. And of course, atmosphere and air are kind of related, so you can use that sort of idea to remember this other meaning of air.
Yeah. So this feeling of innocence. So innocence here is not the same as like not guilty, but more you just don't know everything about the world yet. You're still innocent of all of sort of the negative things that may happen in the world.
Yeah, you're kind of happy and you follow simple concepts and, animals are smiling and maybe can talk and, that kind of dreamy world of childhood. We also saw the word ditty. A ditty is just a short, simple song.
Right.
That's basically what it is. So nothing too complicated or too long. It's just a simple little easy, probably catchy rhyme. So we've mentioned this. One example is Baa Baa Black Sheep. That's a pretty popular nursery rhyme. Have you any wool? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
3 bags full.
Indeed. Okay. But it's suggested that this has a darker meaning, something a little more sinister. It wasn't just
about wool,
wool and kids and songs and stuff. It's been suggested that the song is about a medieval wool tax imposed by King Edward I of England. We use medieval to refer to the period from around the 5th to the 15th centuries, mostly in Europe, and we also call it the Middle Ages, so we're talking about kind of knights and men on horses and simple tools before some of the more modern inventions started to appear, that kind of thing. And this was a tax on wool. Wool, of course, you get from sheep. It's used to make clothes and so on.
Right.
And this tax was imposed by a king of England. To impose means to force something unwelcome on someone, to kind of say you have to do this, you have to follow this. We don't use impose to talk about something good, really.
Right.
It's
usually a rule or a law.
Yeah, or a punishment that you impose on we could talk about imposing a sentence on somebody. So this king is basically said to all his subjects, if you're buying wool or more likely selling
wool,
you have to pay an extra tax. You know, you have to pay me money for every bag of wool you sell.
Right.
Because King Edward I, he had many wars. He was the king in Braveheart, if you've seen that movie.
Okay.
And he needed money to fight his wars, so he raised taxes.
Okay. Well, it says the song mentions 3 bags of wool, one of which is for the master. Now here, the master would have been King Edward. And of course, if you have 3 bags of wool, losing one of them to pay the king is probably quite a bit.
Yes, no wonder the English subjects had some resentment about this fact. So a subject just means it's not quite like citizen, it's more like you are ruled by somebody.
Right.
You know, it shows if you are a subject of someone, it's explaining who your ruler is.
Okay, so more like a king or a queen or something like that.
So technically, as both British and Canadian, we are technically subjects of the British Crown.
Something like that.
Yeah, maybe you less than me, but there we go. We also see the word resentment. Resentment is a feeling that you don't like something and you're unhappy about something and you don't like the way it's affecting your life.
Yes.
Especially because you have no real power to change it. It's something that you don't like, but you can't really do much about. So you grumble and you go, oh, I don't like this. This doesn't make me happy.
Yeah.
I can't do anything about it and it's terrible. And they resented, which is the verb form, resent, the fact that 1/3 of the price, so 3 bags of wool, one bag
of wool,
so 1/3 of the price of a bag of wool went to the crown. Here we use the phrase the crown to mean the king and his treasury.
Right.
We don't mean the actual shiny gold hat that he wears. We just mean the office of the king and his money.
Right.
Okay, we'll finish up this last paragraph before we take a break. So the final sentence is, however, the tax was dropped long before the rhyme appeared. So that tax was dropped. It stopped being effective before Baa Baa Black Sheep kind of started to be sung and made. And therefore, there's no real evidence to support the theory. There's maybe a little bit of evidence or some guessing, but there doesn't seem to be any actual proof that this is really what the song is about.
Well, I mean, if it did happen in the medieval times, it's quite possible that something
Proof can
has
be lost,
disappeared.
so, you know, it's difficult to dig into history and find out stuff like that.
Right.
Okay, before we move on to our next nursery rhyme, it's time to hear from our Chinese teacher, and we'll be back shortly.
Hello everyone, my name is Tina. 今天我们要介绍的是童谣。首先我们来看到文章的第2个句子写着 Their easy words and catchy rhymes teach children to sing or about other simple concepts. 在这里提到了童谣的特色就在于它浅显易懂的歌词以及朗朗上口的韵脚。在这里的 rhyme 当作名词，可以解释成为韵脚或者是押韵诗的意思，教导儿童如何歌唱或者是其他简易的概念。Concept 指的就是一个观念跟思想。如果你说 to present a new concept， 就是代表着提出一个新的概念。在第一段后面的句子提到 Despite nursery rhymes' general air of innocence, however, many people believe these pleasant ditties have darker meanings. 尽管呢，童谣一般来讲都呈现着天真的样貌，在这里我们讲的是 air of innocence， 这里的 air 指的是一种神态跟样貌，而 innocence 则是有天真、纯真的意思。但是很多人还是认为，在这些 pleasant ditties， ditty 指的是歌谣小调，虽然听起来非常的悦耳，其实还有一些更黑暗的含义在其中。首先第一个要介绍的是Baa Baa Black Sheep， 在这里提到 It has been suggested that the song is about a medieval war tax imposed by King Edward I of England. 大家以为童谣都是美好的世界吗？但是在这样子的童谣当中，则是被指出呢，它是有关于中世纪 medieval 中世纪呢，这个英格兰国王爱德华一世所征收的羊毛税。首先我们来看到动词 impose， 就是解释成为征收税或者是加负担于某人的身上，常常搭配的是介系词 on。举个例子来说， The government imposed a heavy tax on luxury goods。政府呢，对于奢侈品科以重税，在这里谈到的就是国王对人民的课税的这个概念。但是呢，在第一段的最后面也提到 However, the tax was dropped long before the rhyme appeared, and there's no real evidence to support this theory. 那事实上呢，早在这个童谣出现之前，这个税收就已经被废除了。在这里用 drop 这个动词，所以也没有 real evidence 确切的证据可以来支持这样子的理论。
We're going to take a short break now, but stay tuned. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. We're talking about nursery rhymes, and we're going to go straight into the next nursery rhyme. We just finished talking about Baa Black Sheep. So the next paragraph begins with another song with allegedly sinister origins is Ring-a-Ring-a Roses. Now, allegedly means that this is a common belief, but there's no real proof to maybe prove that it's true.
Basically, they're like the last song, they're lacking clear, concrete evidence. So it's what's claimed.
Yes, okay. And sinister is sort of, this is what we talked about with the darker meanings. The sinister, it's got
bad,
kind of like an evil or
harmful impression that something is not right, something is wrong, and something is dangerous. Now, there's an urban legend that says the lines of the song describe symptoms of the bubonic plague. An urban legend is a story that many people have heard, but is likely not true, despite which it is still told and repeated as if it is true.
Right.
So a lot of stuff like, oh, my cousin's friend saw this person, or I read somewhere on the internet that.
Right.
I heard this story a few years ago kind of story.
Now, urban legends actually can be a little bit more common these days because of the internet.
Because of the internet.
Yeah, but some things like don't go swimming right after you eat sort of thing. That was an urban legend from my childhood. So if you ate something, you had to wait an hour before you went swimming, or you would
I remember
sink.
that one. Yeah, I had that. We had that legend, urban legend. And these legends often come when there are a lot of people passing the story around, which is why we say urban, so cities and stuff like that. And this legend says the song, the lines, the lyrics, the words describe symptoms of a particular disease.
Okay.
Symptoms are the things of a disease that show themselves and that other people can see and feel. It's things that you can feel.
Right.
Symptoms are things you feel.
Yep.
Signs are things that other people could
can
test.
See.
Yeah. So symptoms, like a symptom of a cold, runny nose, sore throat,
sneezing.
Yeah, blocked nose. You can feel all those things. So they're symptoms of cold. Here we're talking about the symptoms of the bubonic plague, a bacterial infection that caused fever, headaches, vomiting, bits of your body and joints swelled up and burst open, and they went black and nasty. And basically, this disease killed you.
Yeah, back then.
It was like 90% death rate. People did not live once they got this.
Back then, when you get the bubonic plague, basically that was sort of a death sentence.
Pretty much it.
It's easily taken care of these days. I know there are still cases of it in some places.
There's vaccines that kind of eliminate a lot of these things.
Right. Okay. So this nursery rhyme, the ring of roses, is the red marks on the skin medicine, while the pocket full of posies conceals the bad smell caused by the disease. So when you had this disease, the bubonic plague, there would be red marks on your skin.
Of a red ring.
Yeah, they'd make like a circle on your skin. And so this was the ring of roses in this nursery rhyme. And then people would carry around posies in their pocket. And now they're small bouquets of flowers, and it's not one particular flower, but a small bunch of flowers. And
nice-smelling ones.
Yeah, nice-smelling ones. And because this bubonic plague made you smell really bad.
Yeah. And it would also, you'd carry them to, just to make you smell nice and get away from this other smell.
Not a lot of showers or bathing going on back then. So you'd want to carry flowers to conceal or to hide the smell caused by your body, I guess.
Exactly. You'd want to, and people they'd take these things out of their pockets and press them to their faces, or they'd keep them in their sleeves, stuff like that. You might sometimes see the word nosegay, all one word, because they made your nose happy and helped to block out bad smells. We go on again relating to more lyrics from the nursery rhyme. Certainly, people sneezing a tissue, because the song a tissue, we all fall down. So people sneezing a tissue probably had the plague and would all fall down and die.
Well, okay. And I know in the nursery rhyme when we used to do it, we would actually move around in a circle.
Yes,
and then
there's a dance.
At the part where it got to all fell down, we'd all fall down.
And one thing we don't mention here is the ashes in the water, ashes in the sea, which was supposed to be how to get rid, burn the bodies and throw the ashes away so the plague doesn't spread.
Right.
Once again, though, this interpretation, this meaning, this darker meaning of the rhyme is rejected by folklorists, as no mention of it appeared in references until the 1950s. So folklorists are experts on folklore, experts on traditional belief and customs, and they say there's no reference. We don't see people talking about this meaning of the song, this interpretation of the song, until the 1950s. There's nothing in references, meaning history books and other things you can study. So they say this is maybe a modern idea, because we can't look back in history and find the two things being connected. So,
well, like we said, there might not be concrete evidence, but there may be an association there somewhere. We just have no way of saying. So it says, whether these nursery rhymes have hidden meanings or not, there's no denying that certain children's songs have been used to mock rulers or pass down advice from one generation to the next. So even though we don't know if they have hidden meanings, it is certainly true that some children's songs have been used to do things. For instance, mock rulers or make fun of rulers like kings or
government officials, popes, leaders, and so on.
Right. Or to pass down advice or to give information to the next generation about what happened before.
Yeah, what to do when this happens kind of thing. So, children's songs do turn up with little pieces of advice, that are useful to know.
Right.
That's part of their purpose. So we're saying there's no denying that, which means, you can't say that there is absolutely no truth.
Right.
You've got to go, okay, it is true. We do admit it. Another thing, what is especially remarkable is the staying power of nursery rhymes, many of which have been around for hundreds of years. So if something is remarkable, it stands out. It makes you notice it. It's an impressive quality that something has. And what we're saying is they have staying power, which means they don't get forgotten.
Right. They last a long time. Even though we lose the evidence behind them,
the songs stay.
They've stayed for a really long time.
Yeah, people have been singing Baa Baa Black Sheep or Ring a Ring a Roses for hundreds of years.
Right.
And I suspect they will continue
to do so.
To be sung. So they have staying power. They stay. They don't go away.
Yeah. So we'll finish off the article here with our last line. It says, it's to be hoped that they continue to be sung, ensuring that oral traditions and nuggets of wisdom are never lost. So it's to be hoped we hope that this continues to happen.
Yeah, we don't want them to die out.
No, we don't. They make sure that these oral traditions, so these spoken traditions, these songs, these poems, these things,
stories, ideas.
Yeah. And these these nuggets of wisdom, these little pieces of advice that have been passed down for hundreds of years that we never lose them.
That's right. A nugget could be a lump of precious metal. We can also use the word to refer to a valuable idea or fact. And we're kind of using it in the second way here. This little precious ball of wisdom that we want to keep and pass it down through generations for hundreds of years so that they never disappear. All right, we're going to hand you back over to our Chinese teacher right now, then we'll be back to say goodbye.
第二个要介绍的童谣叫做 Rina Rino Roses， 叫做编玫瑰花环。后面提到 Urban legend says the lines of the song describe symptoms of the bubonic plague。什么叫做 urban legend？ 中文翻译成为都市传说，也就是一种以现代生活为背景，用这种新奇怪诞或吓人的情节为主要特色的民间故事。Urban legend 说这首童谣它的歌词叙述的就是现鼠疫的症状 symptoms， 所以童谣并不代表所有都是非常的纯真。那么在这一段的最后一句又提到Once again, though, this interpretation is rejected by folklorists, as no mention of it appeared in references until the 1950s. 再一次这样子的 interpretation， 这样的诠释呢，又被民俗学的研究者所否决了，因为呢，这样子的想法是到了西元1950年才在 references， 在这些参考文献当中被提到。最后一段的第一句提到 Whether these nursery rhymes have hidden meanings or not, there's no denying that certain children's songs have been used to mock rulers or pass down advice from one generation to the next. 在这里提到也许这些 nursery rhymes 童谣呢，不论它是不是有隐含的意思There's no denying that 后面加子句，中文解释成为不可否认的是，毫无疑问的是呢，这些童谣曾经被用来 mock rulers 嘲笑这些统治者，或者是 pass down advice 把这些呢忠固代代的传承下去。这个文章的最后一句提到 It's to be hoped that they continue to be sung, ensuring that oral traditions and nuggets of wisdom are never lost. 但愿呢，他们可以继续的被吟唱下去。Ensure 就是有确保这样子的口述传统跟至理名言永不失传。原来 nugget 本来是有金块的意思，而如果你提到 a nugget of wisdom 则是有至理名言的意思。OK， 以上就是今天的课文讲解，谢谢收听。
Okay, that is the end of our article. We've kind of haven't really got a strong conclusion here. We've sort of got, there might be some truth to some of these, but we're not quite sure.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting area for research. You know, you may have to go out there and dig around yourself to see if you can find anything.
Maybe one that is.
Yeah, and make up your own mind. Do you think it is? Do you think it isn't? Okay. Either way, it's still good to pass the nursery rhymes on.
Yes.
That's the end of the article. So, for English Digest, thanks for listening. I'm Pat.
And I'm Erin.
Bye-bye.